We all have that piece of entertainment, whether it be books, movies, TV, or of course, video games, that we just adore and try to push on all of our friends. Yet they always come back telling us that it's a piece of shit. This is usually due to our good old friend nostalgia. Today I wanted to take a look back at a game that when I think about, I tend to smile and have fond memories of my dad, sister, and I, sitting on our couch with the old school Duke controller, flipping through the good old Prima strategy guide, and also a game that I think is somewhat underrated. It's time to look back at Grab by the Ghoulies. What is Grab by the Ghoulies, you say? I'm not really surprised. I mean, it was made by this little indie studio called Rare back in 2003 or something. I think they made one or two alright games back in their heyday. This was after their acquisition by Microsoft, but before they became the Kinect slaves we know today, or I guess they released Sea of Thieves, but whatever. Anyways, the game is actually an anime dating sim in which you try to impress 4 girls with your skill at poetry. Wait, what? Oh, it's not? Oh, okay. Oh, right. Yeah, no, it's actually a 3D brawler set in a haunted mansion where Cooper has to fight ghoulies to save his girlfriend Amber. The game came out on the original Xbox to middling reviews. Reviewers at the time cited quite a few issues, such as repetitive gameplay and underwhelming level design. Gamers Pulse, man, these guys pulled out the big guns on this poor little game. Their review reads, and I quote, "It might be worth the rent if you are really bored and have nothing but an Xbox and a weekend alone. I would suggest taking up reading or writing or some other monotonous hobby than to waste your time on this game." Ooh! Damn, man, that's a pretty harsh review for a game you gave a 6 out of 10. Despite what people say, the real thing that ruined any chance of this game becoming up there with one of Rare's greats was the controls. If you've ever played a 3D brawler before, your fingers will instinctively travel towards a face button like X or square when you want to hit something. Okay, well, X doesn't do anything. What about B? That seems like the next logical option. Okay, well, B doesn't do anything either. How about Y? Nothing still. I would think that A is for jumping, but let's try it. Again, nothing. Neither an attack or jump. Then I guess the triggers? No, those just turn the camera. Wait. If the triggers control the camera, then what is the right stick used for? Oh. Really?
Holy Jesus. What is that? What the fuck is that?
I'm honestly curious as to who thought this was a good control scheme. In theory, the control scheme makes sense for like precise aiming, but it just leads to you missing important kicks and punches because there's no lock-on feature. I would argue that this one single misstep was enough for the greatness in the game to be fucking RKO'd into the sun. Listen, Rare, please, for the love of all good things in this world, release this game on either Xbox or PC with a proper control scheme. It'll be so much more fun to play, and maybe then people will actually give it a chance and see all the greatness that I see in it. Because underneath this awkward and ineffective control scheme, there lies an actually really charming video game. The only thing that is interesting about the controls is how the gameplay and challenge is built around them. The game has 100 rooms, even though some of them are technically repeats. Every room has its own enemy and challenges. Some will require you to use only fists just to fill the level with items to throw and attack with. Or the opposite, the room will require you to use only weapons just to leave like 5 weapons in the room to kill like 20 ghoulies. Now, I know I'm saying require, but the game actually allows you to break the rules, but if you do, the Grim Reaper comes out. The Reaper is just ever so slightly faster than you and kills you with the touch of his finger. But even the Reaper can be used as a weapon. He can kill anyone with the touch of his finger, not just you. You can use this to kill tough enemies if you're feeling a little crazy. Other challenges include not being able to kill the same enemy twice, or not being able to break anything in the room, needing to kill an enemy in a limited amount of hits. While the gameplay never really changes and some rooms are repeated a few more times, the game never fails to insert new enemies and challenges into each one. With a game that only lasts for around 5 to 8 hours, the gameplay has enough variety to be fun and interesting. The presentation in this game is second to none. The goofy cartoon graphics give it a nice art style that has allowed the game to still be a treat to look at 15 years after its release. Everything is just right. The ghoulies, the comic book style cutscenes, and the environments all culminate into a game that has a very clear and joyous art direction. This is just classic Rare art design, and I think few developers have been able to match the art styles of older Rare titles. Another thing few people can do is make a soundtrack like Grant Kirkhope can. Every track in this thing is just mwah, beautiful. It's Halloween, and when I think about skeletons, I can't help but hear this playing in my head. It is such a fitting melody to accompany skeleton encounters. Whether it be mummies, zombies, flying imps, Kirkhope delivers on every battle track. The ambient songs are also just as polished and enjoyable. From a purely presentation standpoint, I think Grab by the Ghoulies stands firm with all of the great Rare games from the 90s. Now, the story's nothing special. In fact, looking back on it, it's really creepy. This crazy dude in a mansion kidnaps your girlfriend using gargoyle statues. Alright, that's a little weird, but there needs to be a reason to go in the mansion, and that's a good enough reason. There are a bunch of weird ghoulies that want you dead. Well, duh, yeah, you need enemies to fight, so I guess that makes sense. Then you discover that there are other kids in the mansion just tied up to random stuff. Displayed as a pig in the dining hall, wrapped up like some Japanese schoolgirl in the greenhouse, tied up in a freezer. Okay, now you see why it's really weird. See, as a kid, I didn't think anything of it. They were just prisoners. Now it's like, oh, what the fuck? Yeah, the vampires just pull you in to kiss you. 6-year-old me was like, holy crap, I'm getting attacked. But now it's more like, nothing says a kid's game like some good old sexual assault. I don't think the Rare team meant anything by it, or at least I hope they didn't, but it's still a little weird looking back on it now. I think the story is simple enough to be effective, and what really carries it is the likable characters. You got Chef Ma Soupswill, you got the butler Crivens, you got the groundkeepers Fiddlesworth, who Cooper keeps calling stupid ass names like Fiddlesticks, and of course, Mr. Ribs. Then on the villain side, you got the mad scientist Dr. Crackpot, and Baron definitely not a child molester Von Ghoul. All of these characters have their own great personality and charm. Also, I love the fact that you can just beat the living shit out of Crivens. It's fucking so fun. This game just oozes charm. The way the characters interact, the way Baron Von Ghoul screams, the way Cooper wipes his forehead after getting attacked by multiple fucking zombies, skeletons, and mummies. It aligns perfectly with the games of Rare's past in the way that the presentation can just bring a smile to your face. And that's really what games are all about, making you feel something. I see how most people think this game is just a dumpster fire of a video game, but I can't help but think of it as a cracked gem. A game that was just doomed to an experimental control scheme. Alright, well that was a look back at Grab by the Ghoulies, one of my favorite games from my childhood. I hope it was spooky enough for you this Halloween. I'll make sure to save my full 48-part Amnesia Let's Play for next year. Have a good one, everybody. Shadow of the Tomb Raider review will come out at some point. I don't fucking know. You know it's never coming out.